Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Hey, this is Sparta. Hey Nadja. Oh, I can see already that the emotes are working, that's great. So how are you guys? How has your week been? At this point, I just have to check my list here and see that lots of people have joined my channel during the last days. This is really amazing. I also have to thank Alexander Van Aken for subscribing. This is something that happened while I wasn't live. So thank you so much. Been busy working on the final leg of the film project. The final leg. Yeah, that's great to hear. So you guys are busy, you have work. That's pretty good to hear. So today we are going to have some, track reviews going on. I already have a couple of tracks, received a couple of tracks from you guys. But we also have a little bit of a, I'm just want to do like a little bit of a review again. Actually, it's not really like a review, but just let me switch screens here and heading over to checking out some performance percussion by Performance Samples. So this is actually a new, let me just load up the list here. So I could also do this in the browser. Maybe it makes a little bit more sense to see the browser window here. Hey, Ember is official. Good evening. Thanks for being here. Yeah, it should work like this. So I just wanted to introduce you to a new library, which is called Percussion, or Performance Percussion probably, Volume 1. And it's a new sample library by Performance Samples. And if you're familiar with Performance Samples libraries, they always have a special approach of doing things. So especially, for if I remember the Caspian brass library, for example. So you get really great patches, brass patches you can just load up and you can play them instantly. And you can do staccato stuff, you can do maccartos, you can do crescendos. So this is pretty cool to have. Also for their staccato strings for the flute shorts. It's pretty amazing. So there's some really realistic libraries, especially when it comes to this. Exactly, you say it. They really focus on doing one thing really well. This is, I definitely... Oh shit, yeah, thanks. I just have to take care. I knew something was off, when streaming. So I just have to make sure to get the title right. So let me just quickly change that. Thanks for reminding me. I knew something would happen that I would forget. So I would just change it right now. Okay, so let's make this. Oh, it's still. Oh, wait. The track review time is still there, so I just changed that to exploring PerfPerc by Performance Samples plus track review time. Do I have a typo in there somewhere? No. Okay, done. Yep, now it's right. It's funny, I even have my laptop here and I see that. And I didn't realize it, so sorry about this. For the confusion. Thanks for forgiving me. Yeah, so I think you currently have like 1 or 2 additional emotes from my channel. So I'm not really sure if I can even use them. Because I'm not subscribed to myself. Yes. I actually can. Okay, so let's just check a little bit through the library here, and I would just play the patches one by one. I would probably close this window here. And as you, what did I want to mention before? Just one thing. Yeah, the flute shorts too. If you don't have these set of spiccato strings, staccato strings, I think it's more spiccato strings. I definitely, you know, if you're still looking for a good set of spiccato strings where you can play all kinds of, you know, realistic ostinatos, arpeggios, or something, fast staccato lines, this is definitely quickly probably becoming your to-go library for these things, because it sounds definitely very realistic, and it also layers well with other libraries. So let's just go through these patches here one by one. So actually we have just one folder here, and please keep in mind, even though there are a lot of like the crancassa and timpanis in here, or even 4 timpanis in here, this is not focused towards orchestral percussion. So this is more with a percussion in mind to be like, you know, let's say film percussion. I also received, let me just stick that up. Let me just load this up so I have it here. A list of upcoming articulations of volume 2. And I think it wasn't really sure which articulations go into what follow-up library of these. So if you're interested, I can just, you know, open like a little quick WordPad and just copy that in here. So just I leave it open so I'm not forgetting about that. Or you guys remind me. Okay. Hey Jarek, how are you doing? So let me just load the bongos up here and let's check out a little bit of these things here. So audio should come through all right. So you got these patches here, always on the C and the D key, and you will see that, or actually it starts on the C key, and you will see that if there are several patches available for one inside one articulation program or one patch, they always start on the same key. So disregarding, let me just load quickly some and see if I told you stupid stuff. But if you load another patch, it starts on the same C and the same D. If I load the snares, if I load the timpanis, they always are available right and start off right on this key. So it makes it pretty, let's say, easy and great to work with, because you can simply just copy parts over in case you want to layer it with other stuff. Hey Stuart, how are you? Borby, hey, thanks for being here. No, there is no giveaway today. I probably made some mistake by leaving the title. I just corrected it. So you guys probably have seen another title. So let's quickly go through this here. Basically, you have like closed microphones and you have room microphones. Let me just solo. These are the closed microphones. I hope the audio is okay, or if my vocals are a little bit too, my voice is a little bit too loud, just let me know. Okay, goodbye. So, closed mics. Let me just maybe turn up the volume a little bit here. Sorry, that's the tune button. Alex. Let me just raise the limiter for a second here, because I think okay, I hope that's good for you guys. I hope that's not too loud. And we have the room microphones here. So you can mix it as you really want to. I mean, basically, I wouldn't need more than these 2 microphone positions, because I can just dial in a little bit more of a direct sound, or just dial a little bit back of the. Really pick what I want. So there is also another button here. You may have realized that if you play fast patterns or try to play it live, that it's a little bit difficult to play. So you can hit that tighten button here, and then you always have a natural delay of like 80. I tried it with -100, still works, but Jesper said that it's around -80 milliseconds. So you definitely have to work with negative delay. And this is also the case with the flute shorts, because it just makes sense. And just to explain this a little bit, imagine a guitar player and he's doing a strum on an acoustic guitar. So as soon as the pick hits the first string, it's just not, the main attack of that note. The main attack is somewhere when the pick hits the last string, the highest string. And there is like, if you just magnify that strum, that guitar strum, if you magnify that, you would have the one, yes, like the note, the direct note value would be like at the end of that strum, not at the beginning. And this is how these repetition samples work. If you do repetitions, if you do legato, whatever, the first hit of that note is never the exact one. That's why you need that negative delay to let Cubase or whatever your DAW is know, okay, I have to detect that signal earlier to play it right in time. I hope that makes sense, what I was just explaining. So, does it come with baked-in reverb? Yes, it has been recorded in a room, but as I said before, you can dial back the room and just have the closed microphones here. So, to be honest, if you just put that into a full track, you probably won't hear that room too much. And you can adjust the room as you want. So, what I didn't show is absolutely the cool thing is that on the, let's say on the next black key next to the C and the D, so mostly the D sharp, you have rolls you can play with a mod wheel. And this is what I really like, because sometimes you have crescendos in percussions and you can't change it. That crescendo is probably like 4 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever, but you are here, you're able to just freely Hey Ethan, great to see you. So now you get the concept of the library. So if I just, let's record something maybe real quick so you get the, maybe a little bit more of the realism of these repetition sounds. I mean, let me just have to come up with something which is really fast. Let me just try again. We just accelerate, raise the tempo a little bit later on. Okay, let's do something like this. And let me just quickly close the library. Let's go to 16th and just does that work out when I just let me just have to move it a little bit more. So probably have to lower the latency. So this one jumps over. Okay. Oh, there's this funny thing happening. So I just have to put in freeze quantize. Oh, it's better. Okay, so I should have probably played this without with the Tighten button on. So this is actually how he suggested, or how Performance Sample suggests this to do this. So if you just listen to this right now, yes, I mean, I think Saga does the same thing with the rolls. Actually, you know, all the new libraries make sense with that roll. Even like, you know, just to quickly mention Pandora Symphobia 4, where they have like programmable rolls. So you can say, okay, that roll is like 4 bars long, 8 bars long, or 8 beats actually. It makes a lot of sense too. However, you have this option here of being free however you want to do, because it's not like, you know, baked in crescendos or decrescendos or whatever builds and rises, and then you have to render to audio. So yes, actually all the new libraries do it, and I find it really refreshing. So it's definitely nothing new, but what is really cool about this library is, of course, the sound, the color it produces. It will probably layer well with other libraries. If it's like, you know, if you want to get into percussions in general and you're looking for a great sounding professional percussion library as some kind of a, you know, let's say, well, just to add to your, you know, to your working palette. So let me just quickly play that thing here. So you hear that there is this thing going on, which is kind of this delay, which doesn't sound right, especially when you listen to click. But when I set it to -80, and if you listen closely, this is what I mean. I will just switch around between the Tighten button, which is a little bit difficult because then I have to get rid of the delay, but I think you get the idea what I'm trying to. Let me just listen without click and then just hit the Tighten button. Okay, just let me play the whole phrase again. Well, I turned off the click because then I would have to change between, you know, the negative delay. Or let me do it like this. Let me just listen to click. Maybe it makes a little bit more sense. So I tighten it, but then I have to take off the negative delay. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. So. And thanks, by the way, Max, for resubscribing. Thank you so much. So, again. Okay, so now let's add the negative delay, -80 milliseconds, and then get rid of the tighten command. And now. So you probably hear that at the very beginning, when they hit, you know, there is kind of a little bit of a, maybe a little bit of a sample, which is from, or like a, you know, kind of like a little bit of a crescendo that it's like not a direct hit. So you can decide what you like more if you just do it like this, or, but it sounds a little bit more connected when you listen to this. Okay, so let me just play this a little bit faster, and it probably makes a little bit more sense when I do it like this. And maybe let's add a little bit of more stuff. Maybe something like a... Just turn on the Tighten. Good. These keys. This is very difficult now to play to something which is... I would just... This is confusing. Okay, let me do it like this quickly. Now I have to turn on the Titan, turn off the Titan again. No, I'm not used to tight samples. I'm a sloppy player, so. Let me just turn off the click for a second so you're not getting confused by that long delay of turning off that negative delay and then turn it on again. So if you listen to that right now, it sounds like this with Titan on. And now with Titan off. Okay, so let me just turn on the click. You don't hear that right now? It's kind of funny. So I know what the problem probably is. So I have to put it... Let me just... Oh, because yes, I know what the signal is. Or what the problem... Let me just set up another track with click. Because then I would have to activate the control room. Because I know now what's happening. Because the signal is being... You know, I'm using Restream to put the output of Cubase into OBS, which is the software I'm using for streaming. And so you don't have the click because it's not being routed to the output. This is probably the problem. And I probably can't change it unless I'm turning on the studio, you know, like that control room thingy I never use because I don't have any. So let me just see if that... No, I would just add some... Let me just put another track. And what do we use for click sounds? Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't think that through, that you don't hear this. Let me just quickly load something up. I have an idea. I just have to find these. Where are you? My click sounds. Let me just find them. Could be just a little bit. I think I don't have it on my new machine here because I never used them anyway. Nope. I still have them on my old machine. Something is not working right. Something is not working. Yeah, I just have to hide this. I'm sorry. Don't want to mess up NDAs. Let me just whatever load another patch of this library here, and there are some drumsticks in here. Sorry. Where do we have it? Shaker. Snare. So snare should be pretty... Let's load up a snare for now. Let's put on the Titan. And so we can... Maybe a little bit too low. What do we use? No, definitely have to use another library for that. Okay, so let's load up any drum library and use like a hi-hat or something. Jesus, I didn't know that, getting a little click sound and working is such a big thing. So, just loading some drum sounds in here. Can use this as a click. Turn off the room. Just using some Get Good drums here. If you're interested to know, there's no reverb on. I hope it works okay as a click. Well, yes, we could. Yeah, we could just render MIDI click. Then I have to change to MIDI clicks, so I think this should work. Okay, let's do it like this for a second here. Okay. Okay, so I think that works. Gives you a rough idea. Okay, let's listen to this. So this is tighten off. Let's put tighten on again, and then get rid of the negative delay. Okay, so I think you get the idea. What Jasper had in mind, or performance samples guys, is that there is something happening in between two when you have percussion samples. So it's not like you have a direct hit. Is it like, I don't know, it's like an early reflection or whatever. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. Let's now continue to load through the patches here. Just quickly getting the folder again. Now let's use the lower one. Okay, let's do it like this. So we got these instruments here. Now we can, the GUI isn't that big anyway. Let's go through the list here one by one. So you get a good idea of the bongos. Now let's take a look at the grancasas. So again, I think you get the idea if I just hit the tighten button. So tighten off. I think it makes more sense when you have fast notes going on, because there's some kind of a connection to that previous note going on. It's kind of strange, because to me it feels that there is something going on which makes the following samples being disconnected. To be honest, maybe it doesn't make that much sense on the very first one, but on the following samples, it seems like there is something going on. And of course, you have to be aware of that. As I said before, the concept of performance samples is to have these negative delay patches where you capture something which happens before the actual hit, or as I said before with the example of the guitar strum. And this also happens on the flute shorts and all the other libraries they have. So the concept should be that if you are a live player and you're playing these samples, you record them live while you arrange or work on your track. It makes, of course, most sense to just because if you have latency going on while playing, it's very confusing, because when you're recording, you hear everything else, delayed and negative delayed and whatever. So it's a mess. So the best would be to put it on Tighten when you just play it, when you record it, and then afterwards you hit Tighten again. So you just turn this off and move the track back minus 80 milliseconds. Okay, so I think you get the idea of that. So let's just go through these patches here that you're offering. So you heard the Gran Casa, and the same again as I said before on the D sharp. Yeah, definitely. We just have to mention Nucleus, because especially with their legato patches, violin legato, whatever, horn legatos, you clearly hear, or you clearly know, if you listen to a player, they would never, if they play a legato note, they would start the actual transition from that one note to the next right before the note is being hit, so that it makes sense to get in there. It's like a guitar slide. You wouldn't start that slide at the very beginning. So you would do it like, and this would be the one. You want to hit that target note. And this is what's going on with legatos patches, especially of Nucleus, right? So I really love that this is happening. So I don't care if the library is playable, playable live, that you can record live, because I don't have a problem to just hit a Tighten button, play something, record something, or even program it and then quantize it later. But I prefer a realistic outcome rather than have just a great live playability. So just reading again. Okay, you're leaving. Okay. You're leaving for a Halo 2 session. That's cool. So enjoy that. Okay, let me just quickly read. Hey, State Dev, how are you? Everything's good here. So currently, you probably didn't notice, but I'm having like a full house here because my mom is here, my daughter is here, but I put them all in the sleeping room so I can, stream and having a quiet environment. And I just get a little bit of time for myself, right? But everything's fine here. Yes. So I really love that there are a lot of libraries making use of that negative delay, because then you give Contact or whatever sampler you're using the time to react to the script. And this is very important because it makes really a lot of sense, especially on the end, on the outcome of a track. Okay, so let's move on. We heard the Gran Casa. And by the way, I think the sound is very great. I don't care too much if there is the recorded room on there, because you still have the closed samples. And all I'm looking for is the sample juicy? Does it make sense? I don't care. If the room is good, and this is a very important aspect, we all probably know this since Junk XL Brass, because there it was such a, excessive, I think, recording session to record all these, or to edit all these different microphone sections. And at first, I really thought I would never use that many microphone positions, because I'm a guy who likes, to keep stuff simple and to keep working. But when I heard what's all possible with all these microphone sections, it makes a lot of sense to at least have. So what I'm trying to say is that the room information is more important rather than a library offering me dry stuff and then that I'm able to apply my own stuff. Hey, Manaberry, how are you? Okay, so let's just move on and load the high surdos here. So is the thumping sound of my keyboard, is it okay or is it annoying? So otherwise I will make sure to mute my microphone. So I think if I would use these samples, they becoming definitely part of my template, is that I would use or raise the close mic a little bit more, because I feel it's a little bit too low when I have it like. I just want to have a little bit more of an idea where the stuff is coming from. Okay, and again, the same D sharp, we got the... Yeah, I know that feeling. The banker at your door trying to convince me to pay rather taxes than just sample libraries. Right. I totally feel with you, man. Hi, Cerdos. So that was the brushes, actually. And this is the hard mallets patch. Let me just close this for a second here. Let me just, just whatever. Just let me open the browser again. I just quickly have to find the library here. Okay, here we go. Because I want you to see. I want you to see the actual patches over here, but also what is going on the piano roll or on the keyboard. So I find it really refreshing that the concept is the same for all these patches. High surdos, hard mallets. Then we have the high taikos. I think I have to dial back a little bit the limiter. What do you think? Maybe a little bit. I think it was just that one patch which was a little bit too low in volume. So let's take a listen to the close mics again. It's kind of strange. I don't know what is going on, seriously, what he captured before what's actually happening. But I know, or it sounds at least like that, all of these samples have been edited right out of the performance itself. I mean, haha, performance samples. That's like, it's kind of like obvious, but if you really think about it, it makes a lot of sense because, and I really like the sample approach. And even if you just don't think, well, you have any whatever percussion sample library already at home, I think layering that stuff with that, or even I'm not the guy who is replacing, right? But it will have a nice effect because you have a different room, you have a different approach on the sampling and on the performance in general. So you can create some great stuff with these patches. Exactly, not for purists. To be honest, I prefer libraries with a great approach or with something that has a reason, or a specific concept over, this is our new 150 gigabytes percussion library, and you have just stuff all over the place. I just want to be, organized in my template. I want to be organized in my writing. Sometimes, of course, you have like, in a sense, you have like socks on the lamps or in the fridge. I mean, composing wise, right? So, but I like to have it organized, and I definitely know that it will be very efficient to work with a library like this. Okay, high taiko. Let's load the high toms. Played with drumsticks. Hey DJ Adam, how are you? It may become a little bit of a problem when you are, especially during the last, on the last streams, we created some little kind of gaming loops, game music loops. It may become, I'm not saying that it will, that when you have on the very end of your track, like a crescendo going with percussions. And if I release the key, it sounds like there is like a final hit going. So it could introduce a little bit of a problem, but the only thing you have to make sure is maybe have that roll like a few milliseconds, behind the ending, and then render that track to audio and, put in like a link at the very, a hit on the beginning again. Hope that makes sense what I was trying to say. It's really funny, let me just hit that Titan button again. And then play without. Is it like, I'm not really sure if it's like that homeopathic feeling you get, like, oh, something is different, but then it actually isn't. But I know something is different, So, but I'm not sure if I'm the only one experiencing this. So, have I tried the bongo yet? So exclusively for Manaberry, just have the bongo again, real quickly. And also, I just have to be sorry, we never really checked the dynamics, so. So I think that's pretty cool. Just to make sure that my microphone is being unmuted again, because on the last stream, I probably talked for like 3 minutes while having my microphone muted. So what did we play the last high tom? So let's now check the low surdos with brushes. I would say dynamic range good. Yep, so I think, and the rolls. Oh, this is, considering that this is the brushes, there is a lot of, this dynamic range is pretty awesome. Let's check the hard mallets. And I think, yeah, I think I would always raise. But I think surdos always, I'm not sure if it's just me, but they always sound a little bit like bump, 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 like that big old guy just pop, 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 doing something like this. Like, there's this, comedy like John Williams, a comedy. Like he's standing under the shower and just singing like, pop, pop, pop. this is like, okay, forget it. Okay, let me talk about the Tighten button real quick. The Tighten button is simply when you play the patch, you just actually hear it without that little bit of magic which is going on before the hit. So if I just play it. If I turn it off. So this was basically like every other previous percussion library has been approached. You just wanted to have the hit direct on the one, direct on the hit of the key. You hear the hit of the sample. But this is not the case here. There is something happening before that. Hey Dirk, nice to see you. I just have to get used that you're composing tutorials. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dirk Ehlert who just dropped by. Or I could just say Dirk Ehlert because we're both Germans. And it makes a little bit more sense to mention the name by this. But it's English like Dirk, Dirk. Everybody called you Dirk. No, James, Daniel called you Dirk on the you know, on your hosted composium. Okay, so okay, let's load the low taiko. I'm really curious about this one. And yes, I think was it DJ Adam mentioning this, that the samples sound really the organic. Oh no, Dragon's music was it? Hey, and welcome. I think I probably ignored you so far. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is what I really like too. It's organic, but at the same time, it's really big. I think the sound is really big. At first, you may think, you know, of course, I mean, if you compare it to, you know, like Cerberus, which has been sampled with another approach in mind, or Damage or something, this was produced to just have it like hardcore, you know, hits in a sense. Nick Dorito Gaming, hey, welcome. Are you talking to me about the biceps workout, the biceps? It's just a trick. You know, I'm just sitting like this. And when I turn to the side, it looks like really, you know, big. And I'm just, you know. So, but if I move it away, it looks like this, actually. See the difference? I wish I had time for working out, you know. Let's turn on because I think it's pretty interesting to hear that on such a big drum like the taikos when you hit the Tighten button. It almost sounds right now, don't get me wrong, but if you just, it's like having a glass, like glasses on your head, and then you take them off and then you see the difference. And to me, ironically, it sounds like as if there is something cut off at the very beginning. Tighten off. The first day at gym in 3 months. I really feel you, Nadja. I really feel for you. This is, yeah. You probably come home and you have a lot of muscle ache. Well, the thing is, yes, Dragon's music, it may sound less sharp if it's not tightened, but let me just try to play this. Oh, we still have that. This is the cool thing about this library, okay? So we can just, let's mute this upper range here. Oops. Now, there you got it. And let's just play this patch. Tighten on. So maybe as for the very first hit, as I mentioned before, the very first hit, it sounds like it's straight on point. But all these, let's say, untightened, this samples with a magic at the very beginning. I think there's something which has been added magically, which wasn't there before, you know? I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to talk bad of previous percussion libraries, but this is a very unique approach. So let's load the low toms here. So you can hear that the attack is still here, but it's like maybe 80 milliseconds later. Let me just play that patch with the same. Without tighten, with tighten. It's kind of funny. Okay, yeah, to answer your question real quick. Thanks for the nice pattern. But so what do you recommend to learn cinematic percussion patterns? So the first thing obviously is like listen to a lot of music, making use of that style, you know, like the typical guys like Hans Zimmer, because the hardcore thing, what is difficult about learning on how to do like cinematic percussions is that you can easily make it like I mean, this is probably not the best example because it sounds a little bit like a marching pattern, you know, like. So it sounds like from some Wilcoxon training book, you know, like learning paradiddles or something. And they have these straight. So this sounds a little bit like it. So it makes a lot of sense when you write in 3/4, 6/8, that you can come up with some cool epic patterns or cinematic patterns that don't sound military, that don't sound like military. Maybe we can come up a little bit later and just have a little bit of an arrangement, you know, trying to fool around with the library and creating some percussion loops or something. Okay, so let me go quickly through the patches here. We have, sorry, I think I didn't play the... Hey Gaz, how are you? Yeah, right. The training pattern. I was always confused when I see like all these drummers with a left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, something like this, you know. Kind of made sense, but it was kind of weird to watch that. Shakers. We have shakers. Let me just mute my microphone here. Let me just turn on Tighten. Tighten off again. I think it's funny because my... Oh, okay. I'm still here? Yes. I think my Stream Deck just said goodbye. Now it's working again. sounds especially great on shakers. Oh, Dirk, sweetie. Hey, sweetie. So I use for the audio spectrum visualizer. That's a good question. I think it's called Audio Visualizer. Ta-da. It's a plugin for OBS. You can just import that. So maybe I will just, let me just quickly pull that up. Actually, it's called Music Visualizer. Something like this. So you will find it if you I can't find the appropriate website right now, but if you check that, if you Google for it, you will find just like, oh, you got it already. Great. So this is a really cool thing to have. It just adds a little bit of, a little bit of something special inside the stream. So shakers. Oh, we have another. Okay. Okay, so that's also meant. That's also was reading the chat and trying to talk. That's also good to hear that you have some kind of exchange going on. Hey, Thomas, thanks for following. Thanks for being here. You have like a round robin, or it's not random, but it's round robin. So you have like kind of a chung, 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 a different kind of a articulation, a hand movement. Hey, Norman, how are you? Thanks everyone for being here. Just checking here, 24, 25 guys. That's great. I'm sorry, I'm saying always guys. I'm not trying, to ignore the women or the girls, but it's just always like, guys. Even the girls, while I was studying in Los Angeles, when some girls entered the rooms, some singers, they always said, hi guys, so that's why it's not meant to be, Okay, the snare. Thanks, Nadja. Yeah, women say "do" to each other sometimes. Believe me, I mean, if you have been out with a couple of girls, they say worse stuff to each other than we guys will ever do. So this is, something I've experienced. So that when you just go out, it's just like you have like 3 or 4 girls, and you're like, okay, no, just There's also something funny going on again. I mean, as with all these patches. Hey, Alexander, thanks for being here. Again, great dynamics going on here. The timpani. So as I said before in the beginning, this library is not focused towards, because you can see that there are also just 2 notes here. There is no, like the full chromatic spectrum of the timpani. It's just with percussion in mind. And actually it's pretty hard melodies. Skandov, thanks. You really like the recent video on YouTube. Thank you so much. Could you please do more how to compose? Yes. as soon as, the summer holiday is over, summer vacation, as soon as my little one is being back to school and everything is a little bit more, getting into the normal phase, I will definitely make sure to, produce a hell of a lot of more YouTube videos on how to compose and focusing towards, as I did before, snippets, maybe like the beginning of a trailer track, maybe the middle part, or maybe another one on how to create melodies, something like this. Maybe we get a little bit into something like tonight on just focusing on percussive, cinematic writing with that library. So we have another timpani. Let's check out these other three. The dynamic range is pretty good on this one. It's really hard hitting. I like that. Next one. Let me just load the next one. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is a little bit of unfair because it could be that it's actually, the same timpani, but recorded on a different, because it always sounds as if it changes kind of in the room, and it could be the same timpani. So please don't be angry if there is some phasing going on, because that would be totally fine for me. Let me just load the first timpani and the second one. Let me use the same MIDI. Oh no. I mean, technically there wouldn't be any phasing going on, because if they just moved the timpani to another place in the room or even slightly detuned it, it technically is a different timpani. Let's just do this like, why not? Since we're at it, let's load them all four. Yeah, phasing is really worse, but I mean, this is like, I wouldn't be, too, let's say, harsh on the team, because I really appreciate that they took the time and sampled a timpani with just, maybe it's 4 different timpanis. I don't know. It was just assuming, and just wanted to mention, sorry, if there would be phasing, that they just, tweaked the timpani because they wanted to create some special sound. Maybe they put like a towel in it and it changes the entire sound, or like a, like a piece of, like a blanket on top or whatever. But it doesn't sound like this. But this is also a little trick right now when you want to create some big sounding percussions really quickly. You probably have to put on the Titan stuff. Norman, thanks for following. So I think you get the difference when you just load all these patches of the same instrument. You could even do that with the same sample library, of course, and just detune it, because you wouldn't run into phasing issues or anything. So you would just create, you know, like if you have just one taiko, let's try this for a second here. No, I don't want to change. I have to turn that noise off. You know, believe me, I'm working with that machine for like 6 months now, and I wasn't able to turn off that annoying note of Windows. Load taiko. Let's load this again. So you have phasing, of course. Let's put on the Titan stuff here. Okay, Norman, thanks for being here. So just if you don't know, if you're not aware of this, you can change the quality of the stream and put it to like 480p or something. Attack on Titan, good one. So let me just read through the chat. I think that's what Jesper wanted. So just try to find the beginning of the conversation. But I think, yeah, I probably want to figure it out that Jesper wanted to create something unique, as with all his libraries. Norman, I just skipped your question, I think. Do you prefer libraries with pre-made patterns included, or the ones where you literally have to create your own patterns? I mean, it really depends. I'm really picky as a guitar player, and at some point, if I wouldn't be able to play anymore, whatever, you know, just losing a hand or both, I would just, I think I would, you know, try to get, try to get as many pattern or lick libraries as possible, because to my ears, it would sound terrible to come up with that stuff. When it comes to percussion, of course, it depends. Sometimes it's great to have a sample library where you can, you know, inspire yourself to hear a loop. I mean, this happened. I think I probably learned a lot when I was listening to the very first Storm Drum library, which has been ever released. It was like that. Was it Compact something? That loop player, Compact? And I was listening to these loops, and suddenly I remember you had like lots of productions using these loops. So it's really great to have, but let me just. But not always. It really depends on what I'm going for. Sometimes you get on a loop and you think, especially when you are with a tight deadline. So this button doesn't, unfortunately, help when you have a tight deadline going. But German's trying to be funny, and but then it makes the most sense when you can just load in something and you hit a key and say, okay, this is what I want to go with. You just put it in and use it, and it works. So we also have a bonus folder in here. Let's quickly load a little bit of that stuff here. So we got Crankassa bonus crescendos. I didn't check these, to be honest. Let's check what's going on. Wrong key. Wrong. Okay. Okay, so they recorded timpani. So just in case, if you think you're that picky that or maybe you don't have a keyboard with a good, you know, controlling of MIDI commands, or you simply prefer the natural. So I think he added this because there are purists out there, so they can just load in the most natural sounding crescendos played by a real player. So it really, I mean, it makes sense to have stuff like this. You have a lot of that human touch in there because probably no player, I mean, they could probably, but not playing it like equally down all the way. So there you have a lot of humanizing. So it makes sense. So let's hit the bonus hits here. Oh, there's a lot of... What is... That actually makes a lot of sense when you are about to compose some kind of a horror score and you just want to have something which isn't really there, but it is there. You just turn it up a little bit. Yeah, like it. So we got bonus rubs. Yep. Effects are always great to have. Always. It's definitely cool stuff. Load Tom, yeah. Bonus crescendos. Okay, so I think bonus crepes. So I just was thinking a little bit, and it's, you know, when Hans Zimmer composed the Superman Man of Steel sound score, and he had like 9 or 10 I don't know exactly how many, or 12 even, Metoid Music. Thanks for following. What was I about to say? Hans Zimmer, when he recorded the Man of Steel soundtrack, and he recorded, let's say, lots of drummers, and they just tapped the toms with their fingertips. And this is actually, I think, what all of these driving or pulsing patterns are made of, like finger drumming those toms and turn them up really loud. And I was just thinking of this because if you turn up a thing like this, or maybe like on a, you know, on the hits of a loop. So we could try that maybe right now after checking out the other patches. But I think you get the idea. When you use that stuff, which has been intended to be really soft in volume, really low, but you use it for the loud stuff, you just have to, of course, you know, bring it up even more, put it way on top. This is what I don't understand when people sometimes say, you know, that library doesn't sound mighty. They just hit a key and compare the actual volume of that instrument you are hearing right now with the volume of another library, and this is totally bonkers because it was completely recorded with a different concept in mind. And if you want to compare both libraries, you simply have to work with the volume knobs. It's the same when they compare compressors. They put like a compressor of SSL to the same settings as a Slate one, and then to the same of another company, and then they sound completely different, and then say, no, this company didn't do it. I mean, you have to realize that all these numbers are just, they are just values sitting somewhere. What you actually have to do is really go with the ear and saying, does it sound like the original one? Because it doesn't matter if that effect starts at 8 or 7 or something. The most important, maybe you have to put one more up than the other one. So I'm just lost it a little bit, but when it comes to libraries, you really have to compare the libraries by setting it to the same volume, Okay, let's check the taikos, bonus crescendos. Oh, that's cool. It's almost some kind of a natural flanging effect happening. Craxon, thanks for being here. Yes, I mean, Hans Zimmer is the guy who makes stuff in D minor in pretty much the same chord progression with some exceptions. Yes, but he probably works on more movies like you do. I'm sorry. I'm trying to put in a lot of humor into what I say, but I just want to think of it. I don't care if he produces anything in D minor, he's coming up with stuff which has been inventive, and everybody tries to copy him, because he has been always inventive when it comes to Pirates of the Caribbean staccatos, or whatever, the Brahm, or all these different things. Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I was just kidding too. But I once had a producer. I was talking to a producer about some argument. This is like a funny little story. And he was telling me something and I didn't agree. And he was driving a very expensive car. And because I didn't agree with him, and he said, this is the reason why you sit at the back of the car and I'm driving. So I think it was an argument about marketing or about sales or anything. And he's always like very honest. I like him a lot. I will not mention any names right now, but it was so funny when we were driving, I don't know, to the airport, whatever, I don't know. And then he suddenly was like, after this argument, I said, and I'm pretty open too. I don't have this kind of, what I would like to call money respect when I'm with someone who is very rich, very, has some kind of a status. I will always be honest about something. If I don't like something, I will say it. I don't care if that person just says, because people like this usually agree or like you even more when you have the balls to just reply in honesty. I mean, it's not something about bad breath, don't get me wrong. But if you like some approach about marketing or whatever, and I say, I kind of disagree because, and then he says, yeah, I see your point. But, the reason why you're thinking like this is that you're sitting in the back of the car and not driving it. So. I'm sorry, I'm talking way too much again here. Bonus rubs. think I have to turn this up again. It's a very unsettling sound. Man, imagine turning this up a lot and put these, just, I'm coming up with all these ideas, but should probably just do it, So it's just a test. I'm not really sure what is coming out, what is happening right now, but put some cleaning stuff on top or something. Add some reverb, maybe some special effects, additional effects, and you get some really cool, unique stuff going on, Hey, Eve, how are you? The ocean is calling. Yeah, right. Yeah, and even think about pitching it up. We didn't do that. Okay, the algorithm is a little bit hitting here when you move it up. But, I mean, yeah, that's me. I always like to mess up stuff and just, I like this kind of, how do you say, like cross-thinking? So, as I said before, with comparing the volumes of percussion libraries, some people just hit like the keys, but you have to cross-think and say, okay, you need an additional way of thinking of maybe moving the library, the volume up of something. And then I like this cross-thinking when it comes to stuff like this. Try to imagine what would happen if I put distortion on that, reverb, maybe, kind of negative reverb or whatever, if I would chop the sound. So you could just, process the crap out of that stuff here by putting like chopped sounds on it and play around with the curves, with the modulation and stuff like this. What is it right now? The bonus what do we have here? The scrapes, okay. It doesn't sound that special to me, but I think it's probably good to have those two. Bonus hits timpani. Okay, and we got some rubs here. It's some strange sounds, seriously, when you just, rub or scratch on percussions. You can create some really cool stuff. Okay, so that's the entire library. I mean, we can check the website for a second if you want to. As I said before, Jasper told me that he's planning to have like more stuff coming. So this is like the volume 1. They also have a new website. I can see that. So you got like all the articulations in here, some explanation. So it's 5 gigs all in all. And, to be honest, it's not like the very cheapest library with 179, but if you're looking for a decent set of, like a great sound, and you will put it to use then, and it's June 14. Isn't that? Oh, we have the 17th already. So it probably goes back to the normal price. So I'm not really sure if you would have a sale again or something. But I mean, these sounds are definitely worth it. So I just want to come up with that little, what is planned. Let me do it like this for a second, because I can just come up with a little WordPad right now and just copy. So I don't need to open my. Okay, so let me just copy that over, and you can see all the stuff which has been planned. So he allowed me to show that to you guys. This is what's coming. It's probably a little bit too small to read. Do it like this. So there is a lot of stuff going on happening. Low toms again, 4, 3, 2, 1. So they will obviously record a lot of different toms. Then we have low toms, mid toms, high toms. We have rototoms, which is pretty cool. Kicks, cymbals. So if they, sample all that stuff with the cymbals too, this is pretty great to have. Congas, cajons, frame drums, congas again, frame drums again, gong drums, rain stick, shakers, tambourine, taiko, hands, dum. This is what we probably talked about. Tupans, udus. So there's a lot of stuff coming in the future. Yes. Yeah, I get it. You never heard a bad performance samples library. Yeah. I definitely have to agree. It's like always no-brainers, everything. So I'm so really curious for Oceania 2, for example. This will be a great library. So to be honest, you guys decide. What are we going to do? Are we heading over to the track review? We wanted to do, because I have a bunch of tracks over here right now. So we can do that like this. And maybe let's dedicate an entire stream to, I think Jarek was it who suggested this, I suggested this after his question, to have some cinematic percussion stream and how to do that. So if you want, we could hop over to the track review part of the evening. And I have a few tracks here. Doing a Jake Cell giveaway, yeah. So you guys decide. I would just take in a nap on my water bottle. You decide. If we just hop over. Maybe I wouldn't be able to do all of the tracks tonight. So I just let you decide. Just let me know. So I think we have some. Yeah, so I think we have so far more guys. They just want the bongos and the toms. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a chance to just get them. I mean, just write him and ask him, just as some kind of a, I'm not really sure if you would do any custom sales. Okay, so let's go for the reviews, right? And let's dedicate an entire stream. So let's first load one track by Dragon's music, I'm just having like 7 tracks in here. So as you know, this is not bad intention, but I just have to, prioritize my dear patrons. Just have to get used to that for sending these tracks in. And since my Patreon account literally exploded like during the last, sorry, what am I doing here? During the last days, actually, what am I doing here? What is, oh, it's like 2 dots. I think there's like 2 dots in here. Oh, sorry. Oh boy. One should think that I use Cubase a little bit longer than just 5 minutes. So, let's just listen to this track here. I really love that track. I was just reading to the comments, so I was just kind of absent to read your. Yes, I agree with the reverb on the piano, but I also know, yeah, as Dragon's Music, who's the composer, said that you didn't really mix that track so far. The tempo, yes, the tempo changed. I'm just thinking too much right now because you maybe want to tell me where the tempo changed, but I think probably no, it was here probably then. Is it the spot where the tempo changed? No, it should have been somewhere before here. It happens earlier. Oh, it changes over time, so we don't have to. Well, actually, I don't have a lot to say because I know the intention. So it's kind of like a, as you said, like a game trailer for let's say introducing. I'm not really sure if I'm allowed to mention this, so I will just say that you're composing this for. To introducing, yes, a game or a part of the game. So I really love it. And I really love the dynamics so that you are coming in with a slam in here. And the only thing I kind of found confusing, but also not, is that you completely changed something like, if you listen to that part, And then you're introducing kind of this melody again, and then listen to the... I'm not really sure. I mean, it sounds great. It's a kind of a little bit of, huh? Where does it go? I would have expected something like, but I can't. I would have expected something more heroic or some in the key change that you. But then again, I would understand that you changed it because you don't like the typical chord progression of something going like, you know, everyone is using the typical 4-chord progression. But what I think have a little bit of a problem with it, that you could have gone way more big balls at the end, because it doesn't feel as it adds more. You know, you're doing that build. And then you have the last hit is actually quite bigger. You said, okay, you mixed it, but you didn't mix it yet. But even if you would have mixed it, it wouldn't sound as big as it probably would. So make sure to use that final hit at least as the beginning of that, and also use the soft cymbal somewhere, because you're not working for movie trailers. You don't have to worry about that something is not being used in a track because you added cymbals and they have to cut that stuff around, and then something doesn't fit. So you can go wild here. And also what I miss is low trombones. So for that first thing, I would probably miss something like... You know, like a full chord. So you get that D major, or maybe just the 5th. Maybe just... Yes. So I think this is, this is probably the only thing I would have, I'm always confusing these things here. I'm so sorry, Adam, that I always have to kind of tease you with that junky XL brass. But yeah, I think that would do a lot of good for the track, and then add something like, you know, big percussions at the end. So and then you could go... You could like go back to something like E major or something, and then you could repeat that part twice, and let's go to that dramatic, to that, you know, to resolve it to at the very end. So you could have it like 2 parts, so twice as long. I would do it right now, but you have choir, so I would probably just start putting the choir at the very end again. So make it like, no, just quickly, let's do something like this. Don't want to mess up that track right now. And I can't get rid of the choir right now, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. Without the choir, and then move that, put that choir at the end, and also put in some high, of course, some French horns. You don't hear anything like right now. It sounds as if you just used strings. You know, so just that frequency band, you know, like that spectrum. So if I stop playing the horns, it still sounds mighty, but I think you could add some balls with some, you know, brass patches. Yes, there's a horn, but it's probably, it could, I mean, that's just my input, you know, but you could raise it more above the top than you would, you know, probably do, because maybe, I'm not really sure of the reason, but maybe you're afraid that you just overdo it a little bit. But, you know, I know that the project you're talking about, I'm not really sure if I'm allowed to mention that. So just let me know if I do, but I just want to respect that, because we all have to respect these these NDAs. But you want to introduce something which is, let's say, out of this world. And yes, of course, I will respect it. So you're introducing something which is kind of out of this world, but you know, so make this orchestra or that whole arrangement out of this world too. Just give a fuck if there's just like 4 horns on the orchestra available, or if there's a horn in there which is just able to play at that volume or something. Just, you know, just use the concept of that, you know, project and have it in mind and apply it to the entire track in general. And this is especially when we're talking about this, what I love when, for example, Hans Zimmer composed the music to Inception. You have that track of sung by Edith Piaf, which French title I can't pronounce. You know, that typical. So, and when you play, and you have that concept of Inception, that these guys going to that dream world, and the time in a dream runs faster. So if they go to the dream world, I'm not really sure if you know this, but I think everybody who is doing music by now know this little story. So and the thing is, you have these staccato horns, staccato strings at the beginning. It's always like this thing going on. So technically, if you listen to that track in a dream, it would become slower because time moves faster, if that makes sense. No, actually, time in a dream, I'm sorry, the time in a dream takes longer. So you could dream an experience of like 5 years. And in that movie, they made up a little bit of a, you know, which something like a dream, you experience a dream like 3 times or 5 times, whatever it is. I don't know. and so what was I about to say? So when you go to that dream world, you experience more time. So technically time runs faster in the dream, but everything what is played in the real world experience slower. And when you listen to the Inception soundtrack, you have the main theme starts to like and if you play these Brahms faster, it becomes the staccato notes of the Edith Piaf songs. Mind blown. I mean, as I heard this the first time, and this is the concept, I like that thinking when it's about dreams and reality, and you put these things into the music. And I would think every time, disregarding what project you are working for, if it's a movie or something else, I would always have that in mind and, go with the concept of that project and try to apply it to the music. Okay, so I think I really can't say anymore. I really like that track, and I hope this helped you a little bit. So let me just... Oh, Evelance, you're the founder of the project and you're here, and I can feel free to talk about it. It's official. So I don't want to lose too much words. So basically, that's really cool. So thank you. And thanks for being here, by the way. And I just want to mention Storm Physics for following. Thank you so much. So if you're into games, into video games, you know that there is a game called Ark. I don't want to, just talk about the project too much, but in general, just want to mention it. And basically the game, I just played it briefly. I just had a look into it, but it's a world made of, thanks for following, is a world where humans are able to ride dinosaurs and stuff like this. And so this project is playing in the world of Ark. And so obviously Tiamat, I'm not really sure if it's like the map you are developing right now, and you had the great fortune to be, supported by the company itself. So this is really great. This is a great opportunity, and so I will, really, I'm really looking forward to the final music of that, and let's say Dragon's music, and we will really make sure to bring this, to like some working a little bit on the arrangement in general, and really looking forward to. So that's what I was able to mention right now from my mind. So so I hope this helped you a little bit, and I would just move on to the next track and check out what we still have here. So let's move over here. So we have Hopeless by Supernap, by Yannick. And I can't... Oh, okay, it works. Just probably was... Pretty sure why it took a moment. Let me just find the tempo, and you wrote its tempo. It says in the track, 108. Let me just move it over here. Oh, why does it reset to... I don't know. Sorry, I can't do this because of... I'm really sorry, but I just want to make it really right here. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 110. I'm seeing that right now. didn't expect the ending, even though I seen it right here. I really love that track. So maybe you can tell a little bit what if you can say something what this track is about. I mean, I love it from the beginning till the end. I'm probably a little bit different when it comes to the snare. I think you could. To be honest, I would probably, when it comes to this, because to me it sounds like a track. I'm just reading through the chat, not that you already wrote something, but to me it sounds like as if the vocals is missing. That there is something coming along what you want to record, like kind of a metal singer, and then you want to finish that track. So it sounds like an instrumental, but when I listen to these parts, so especially in the end, where I'm not really sure about what it is. So that's why I'm asking. So if you're adding a singer, if there is lyrics on top, or if it's an instrumental. But if it's an instrumental, and if it's like a, let's say like how do you say, like a backing track for, let's say it could be cool for like a zombie hunting. Or like a film scene where they're hiding somewhere and just, it sounds very dramatic. And then if there's like action coming on, so it could work as what's the first track you wrote after By Medusa Drums? Okay, so post-rock dystopian stuff, zombies. I got it right. Great. So this is cool when you just realize that this is about zombies and you instantly know zombies. You did a great job. Yeah, even though I like Medusa, and I think I would have probably went a little bit to add an additional thing on top, and maybe even compress it a little bit more, or using another snare mix from that library. But I'm also one of these guys who really loves those high, very, kind of like piccolo snare drums already, when they have like, I don't know what it is, like 24-inch. What is it usually technical when you look, for example, like, let me just quickly load again, like Modern Massive. I mean, I'm just a fan. I really love Medusa. It's really great to make everything sound great instantly out of the box, but I'm always a fan of... Let me just load that mix for a second. Of these snares, so if you kind of... It could be even higher. Oh, it's like a 6.5. 14.65. Is there another one which is... No, they are all bigger. I think that's the smallest one of that set. No, this is too low. So this is... I think I had this before. I'm not really sure. But I know, I mean, Medusa itself sounds really great, but sometimes I like that when you add these high-pitched drums, and I wouldn't be afraid to compress it even more, because it still sounds, of course, natural, and you may like this. If I would, sitting on the production doing it, I would just, putting the shit out of that the snare, you know, compressing the shit out of this. I also had the idea, if you just let's load for a second, let's load Medusa for a second, because if you just put, what's really cool is to use the toms of that library. And let me just, if I can quickly find it. Here we got it. So may work or not, but that you just use toms to put some accents on the kick drum and the snare. I will probably not be able to put make it a little bit louder. Doesn't work that well. I just wanted to try to do it with the same library, but maybe we should use something like, you know, which was just simply love this old patch from Audio Imperia, that Decimator drums, the designed kits. Sorry, the Epic. Just have to dial back a bit because they're... So if you put these in the back, of course it changes the entire sound to make it something more, you know, epic. So of course you would have to do some compression and maybe some getting rid of that. Oh, there's... I had the mod wheel jumping up again, so... So maybe the sound is a little bit too roomy or too boomy, so I would just get a little bit of mid frequencies to just add a little bit to that snare to make it a little bit bigger. But that's just a matter of taste. But apart from that, I really love that track. I also don't know arrangement-wise what I would do different. It's like top-notch production, so I don't have anything to say. I would really love to hear vocals on top, like written lyrics, and make it like a metal song with a great shouter, partially, you know, with shouting. Okay, Dragons Music, just seeing you leaving. Thanks for being here. Have a good night. You can't sing. Well, other people can, you know, just hire someone. And I would just, you know, seriously, I love, but at the same time, not. But I would love to say more to that track. But I mean, good for you. If I'm, you know, I'm not the ultimate reference when it comes to sound review, but I don't have anything more to say because it sounds really great production-wise. And yes, maybe a little bit more reverb on the piano, maybe a little bit dialed back because it's very present in the beginning. So you could dial that back to keep, because it's kind of ear fatiguing, how to say. So you're very loud at the beginning already. This is the only thing that came to my mind too. And then you go to... So the difference between the loudness You know, what I'm trying to say is that you have that the piano has a lot of, you know, slams and hitting. It's, or how to say, maybe you already know what I'm trying to say, but that's probably the word. The piano sounds too massive for that beginning already. And you go down here. This is like the volume I feel which the entire piano of the track should have right in the beginning. So just as an idea, not saying that it's like really you know, that you should take that as a reference, but it's kind of like ear fatiguing from the very beginning. So I would just turn down the volume. Maybe it's a little bit too compressed. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I think it would be better to have it a little bit lower in volume. And then that first intro here would hit even more, you know? So this is, I mean, maybe it was helpful. Maybe you can do something with it, but I really miss a singer. Hire a singer. You know, ask around, make this track like really a great performance. Trying to think of anything else, but no, I really love it. I really love the production. And I would say let's head over to the next track here. So we got the Rift by L2A2 Gas Keenan, which is 75 BPM. Okay, yeah, great. I was just reading. I have some metal with vocals that currently getting mastered by Lasse Lammert, a German guy. I will send it your way then. Yes, I would love to hear that. Do it. Definitely do it. Okay, just trying to set up the BPM here. I just have to find if it's... Okay. I really love the track. It kind of has a story, but okay, so let me start somewhere. I have so many things in my head because you said that it's going to be like a movie trailer track. So you got like the length is already good because you have roundabout like 2 minutes 30. I mean, it's not saying that it always has to be like this, but that's a good duration of like 2:15 to 2:45 something. And I just noticed that, to be honest, there are so many parts in there. You could easily write 3 different trailer tracks out of this. So you. So for the very first section, I think I would try. I mean, I'm a big fan of this. I know I repeat myself, but try to keep the chord progression for yourself in the beginning because you just want to, hey, I got something to show to you, Just have a listen. I just want to show you something. And the guy's coming closer. It's like, so what do you have? What do you have? Nah, come with me, You're not giving away something. You just let them know by the piano hook line that something is going on, but not exactly what. And you're revealing kind of the entire chord progression. You're bringing it home already, but we just started. We are like 10 seconds and you're already da da. You're bringing it home to the root already. And this is kind of a, let's say, not really like a no-go, but I would keep the chord progression to you. Just use a pedal note all the time for like, bass notes, right? And not do any change of the chord progression. So you build like tension to that, and then this is like kind of misleading that you just head into that break. So nobody, if I would be a cutter right now sitting and try to work the scenes out to that track, I wouldn't know where to start and where to end. There's no obvious point where you just have this, break between the intro and the middle part. And then again, you start with that part here. It sounds a little bit, you're trying to keep the pedal note, but with high notes, but you move the bass. I would just turn it around to just keep the bass, as the root, and change sounds or notes on top. And then again, the thing is that the part just stops here. It moves back to a. So the thing is, that part is too short to build. So I would just probably, if I would just, I'm not really sure if I'm, let me just move this, how you rendered the track, where it exactly is like. Let me just by hand move it somewhere. So that's rough. This is also like a little bit of advice. I'm not really sure if I do this wrong right now, but if you render a track, for example, if you have 75 BPM, always make sure that it's like an entire full bar empty ahead, because it's trailer music. You don't sell a record, it's like nobody, this track is not available as this version on Apple Music. Nobody listens to like an empty part of like 3 seconds or something, but this is for the editor. They load it up. And they have these moments of like, okay, it's 75 BPM. Where's where did the file start? And then usually you import that track and you want to have it right on spot on like the tempo grid. So you want to have it available right now. And you have that nice track laid out in 75 BPM, but it starts somewhere, you know? So you have to yes, so you like to add values to, oh, don't give it all away. Yes, so, but I'm just trying to come up with some stuff which comes to my mind. So actually, this could be an entire trailer track by itself if you just have it. I could try to just... so that you have that part. I'm just trying to come up with something. Something like this, and then we're just cutting it. Hope I'm doing this right. So you just make it like a big whoosh and then have like a bar of nothing. 2, 3, 4, and then... oh, sorry. See, this is another thing. So it looks like the accent would... okay, so you probably have some tempo changes or some, you know, I'm just trying to... something is off here. Something sounds kind of wrong. And then the part is too short, so I would definitely repeat it and try to... if you have problems building that part more, maybe try to remove something from the previous part. So I would just... maybe it could be the brass, that you just remove the brass, for example. It could also be that you remove these little percussion elements on top. So that you remove this. You could even go further, and thank you, Adam, make a great cutter. Yes, I still had the pleasure actually to cut drums on a tape machine and having like to, you know, how to say, like drop in the drummer, like, you know, like a 16th note before the let's say the final part happened, because in that studio they recorded drums with a tape machine, not tape machine, with the tapes, right? And had the rest running alongside with I think Cubase, yes. So this was very interesting to do all these cuts. So that was probably, I was, you know, let's say, how do you say, I was forced to do a lot of editing work on that studio. So, but right now I'm just moving like 4-bar parts. But I know you have been ironic anyway, so. I would, yes, that's what I wanted to say. I would even double that part and add something like a... let me just think of something. I mean, just some easy element to just go a little bit with a... Something like... Not really sure if that sounds right or what I'm hearing. Maybe just... But you have to think, it kind of sounds wrong, but you're moving the trombones with kind of having some major chord at the end. And I think this takes away, don't get me wrong, like the track entirely is cool, like the orchestration and the instrumentation is really cool. But I think when you use major chords in a dramatic setup, it really doesn't sound dramatic, you know, especially like that final... It kind of takes away a little bit from the dramatic thing. So, and then for the end part, yes, so you're right. I would go down again, maybe on this part and make this section like... This is very confusing, this part. It's cool sound design, but you give them this pattern. So it moves along with the same tempo, of course. I'm not talking about that little accelerating thing, but I think it's a little bit too long. And then I would just start that part already here somewhere. Maybe with a break again. 3, 4... But I really love kind of the percussion side of that part, but I'm asking myself, what does it have to do with the previous instrumentation? It feels like a completely different track. And then you go directly into that again, into the finale. And I think a great... So I'm sorry, I really disrupted your track right now here and, you know, torn it apart and everything. But I just tried to come up with a form which works for these trailer guys. Because when I listen to the track, I really love it. But I find it confusing to edit, you know? And then again... At the second half, I'm not really sure what that track has to do with the ending, so I hope that makes sense. With the beginning, sorry. I hope that makes sense. And I would repeat that part again, you know? And this kind of makes sense, makes more sense. It sounds more dramatic than before. Before it sounded like you put like a little sweet head on the drama, but now the drama makes sense. But I would leave it to that drama because you're not trying to make a track which is, or a movie trailer which is not, you want to make sure that this drama is there right from the beginning. But just hiding it, you know, maybe like... not making the brass, I'm talking about this section here, making it too big, maybe lower, maybe softer, and then really go for it here. And I would just introduce that part maybe twice without the high strings. Yes, so I think that final part could be another trailer track too. I would really leave it to this pattern you've been using here. And then again, and maybe just build it for like 3-4 times, because this is what we are used to. We are used to patterns. We just want to have something repetitive to get ourselves in trance, you know. And then this is happening. If I would just, I try to, because it's kind of funny because it doesn't seem to be sitting on the beat. So there is no obvious, I'm not really sure if it's timing changing or if I messed something up. Bramiel James, that's funny. And if I messed something up here, but so let's do this experiment. I don't want to, you know, because I have all these ideas and I just have to see if I got, let's just load some choirs. Just want to spend a little time on this because how easy it is. And I know you would probably say, shit, I want to make this track a little bit special. I'm sorry. I want to make this track, it's loading already, sorry. I want to make this track a little bit special, you know, that there is some more stuff going on, you know. But I think when you have that pattern already, I just loaded choir and I just want to... you know, coming up with something like... Okay, we don't have a high... a high C sharp anymore, but I think you get the idea. Maybe I can just... Maybe I can just... So I think you get the idea, maybe just in the final part, and then come up with also some, you know, stupid things. I just want to call them stupid things, like, just have to load this from here. Okay, I think did I show this? So I was just using Storm Choir Ultimate for the choir. Just in case you're interested. And then I would use some kind of Devastator drums on these hits and put them in here like... Maybe only on the part, you know, maybe in the beginning just once, and maybe on these parts here. Like triplets. I mean, it sounds really stupid to like slam a track, you know, on that and say, oh man, this is like stupid triplets all the time. But this is, you have to turn off your brain as a composer and just think listener or viewer or watcher of a trailer, and they want to have these repetitive things. this is why Nirvana and Smells Like Teen Spirit is so successful, because it's like and then it starts off with the same pattern, and people say, I can recognize this, and then move on, and then say, oh, I can recognize that part too, and then move on, and then the singing. So they can go with that track all the time. And we as composers, I consider myself guilty too, make that mistake of saying, this sounds too boring. Maybe we should change the flow. But this is exactly what breaks, kind of a great trailer track. And I think Harry Lightfoot, somebody mentioned that, like, this is my favorite, trailer track currently, like We Are Gods by Audio Machine. I just don't want to play it because I could, because Twitch is taking good care of maybe just closing down, accounts where you just play music which isn't yours. And it's okay with these tracks, because if you release these tracks, the stream will be deleted by then. So it will be just here on Twitch for like 2 months or something. I mean, I really hope that it was a little bit of help, Gas. I mean, we can talk about this. I can send you a message, or we set up a little chat or something, and talk about this track. Or if you are, curious about what you change in detail. And this is also, like, I'm trying to buy, DJ Adam, you said it. I was just butchering that track. So you're sitting with the lights on and just trying to, come up with something which makes sense. And then you start like completely dissecting that track. So I think one very important point I realized also, considering that it's a trailer track, let me just pull off them. And I'm already kind of sorry to do this. No, we already have one at the very end. So you may want to softly, gently turn down your volume right now, because look, I'm turning this up like 6 dB, and then it just kind of grabs like, some of the top. Okay, so I think, considering that it's a trailer track, you should definitely, bring that track definitely to volume. I'm not talking about getting into the loudness war and trying to make it as loud as possible, but it should be at least hit that that let's say that default volume you want to get get to. It's like so you're a belly dancer right now, or you like, you want to dance in that ensemble. Why do you have like, cowboy shoes on it? So it doesn't fit that standard. So you just want to make sure that the volume is reaching that level, that at least the track is at the same volume as all the other tracks. It doesn't, I think we are over that part that it has to top the volume of other tracks, or sounding more mighty or more, because, these guys, mostly the cutter guys, are probably musicians and composers too, but they just work as cutters, and who also have experience with picture and stuff like this. So they have a clue about everything. So it's not really important to crank it up like crazy, but at least get to the maximum level of what's possible. Okay, so I hope that this was a little bit helpful to that track. I'm really sorry that I butchered it like this. And so let's have another track here, if that's okay with you guys. So let's load one by Felix. I really love that name, by the way, because I know that his name is Felix, and he just changed a few letters. So that's really cool. I love these name games. I just have to bring back the volume, the limiter again. Otherwise, this track may sound pretty squashed. Yeah, that looks loud. Okay, so let's have a listen to this one. Sorry, let me want to 140 BPM. Let me just bring that in here. Let's start it here somewhere. Yay. I definitely, I like this track. There is some great sound designish elements going on. I think that it's definitely overcompressed. I really had to turn down the volume a little bit because it's really hardcore, which makes sense, but you definitely hear that it's overcompressed. If the limiting would be up like this, I think it wouldn't be a problem, but you definitely hear that release of the you definitely hear the compressor pumping, and I would try to avoid that. So if you don't need to be afraid that you wouldn't reach the maximum loudness because you already achieved it, but I think it's compressed a little bit too much. And in general, I like the surprise moments. Let me just turn this down a little bit like this right now and listen to the different parts. Okay, so what I really love is the intro. Until then, you really know, okay, there's something going to happen, and it just goes off and off and off and off, even more, and then suddenly it breaks down. This is perfectly what want, because then everybody knows, okay, so something is happening next. It could be time for a little bit of a dialogue or some revealing moment, and then it should move on. But the only thing I don't like is that it just breaks down. Sorry, that it just breaks down again. I would probably do something like this, and I'm really sorry again, but you could just try to find the... It's probably here, and then I would just probably go here. Sorry, moving away. So to me, this would be the end of the track. So everything else, what's following after that, it doesn't make sense right now because I'm just cutting it up to like 1:30. But as for the finale of the track, this would be the perfect. So then it builds again, which makes sense if it would now really explode, but it doesn't. You could say I came too early. Sorry. But I think this is like the really the finale of the track, like the highest point, the climax in that music right here. And I would probably fool with these two parts, maybe having a silent part. Let me just... Oh, sorry. I deleted the finale. So you would just, do something like this. And it's a little bit, because it's not regularly, maybe it's just because I'm a symmetry guys. You guys should see me building Minecraft houses. If I build a house, it always has to be symmetric. If like the door is in the middle and I have 7 blocks here, where's the camera, like here, and 8 blocks here, I'm going crazy. It's like maybe there's something, and I mean this in a positive way because I respect, autistic people as geniuses because they have something we don't have. But I don't want to compare myself to an autistic person in a positive way. I mean that. But something in my brain is definitely going off when I have like 7 blocks here and 8 blocks here. And this is something what happens right now. You have like... something like 3.75 bars, and then it goes down again. So you want to make sure that it has something like... So if we take this one here, and then it would probably be... let's crossfade this. And then add additional elements to that track, because this is very basic when it comes to, big enough for drums. But then again, it could do like, this is maybe the most unintuitive, let's say the most, annoying or boring thing you would do, like... And then bring it, of course, to the end, or even don't make it too short at this point. Bring it to the end, or even make it a bar longer, which adds more tension. So you would maybe want to build this 1 bar more, turning it off at the 1. Okay, so I also cut it, but it goes down like... Bam, and then make it a bar longer, because this is really great when you just let people expect that they are in that 4-bar patterns or 8-bar patterns, and suddenly something happens they are not expecting, which is like when you are at a club and you're waiting for the drop, which I mentioned on the last stream. You're sitting there in the club and you're dancing, and you have that pattern of 4 things happening all the time, 4 bars, for example, or 8 bars, and then suddenly you have 1 bar more, and it raises the tension more, and then you have the drop, and then everybody knows, and then moves back into the track. So I would do that here too, and yeah. So basically, the track sounds too overcompressed, and I would change that form. And I think this is a general. I'm just. Jasper just wrote me. He just hopped into the stream. You're very welcome. It was a lot of fun. Is that track using PerfPercussion? I think not right now. I think none of these tracks. We're just doing so just in case you're still listening, Jasper, hi. We're just doing a track review because we already checked out the library, and now we're doing a track review part at the end of the stream. So but I will send you the link to the actual recording, and I will of course come up with a YouTube video where we're just going through the library without talking too much. Oh, you actually used flute shorts in yours. That's good to know. But I will send him the link again. Technology is cool, so you can listen. You can do a stream right now that you can check your mobile phone, check a private message on, Facebook, and then spread this message on the Twitch stream again. This is really funny. I love that. So, Felix, I think this made a lot of sense, or some sense. And I just wanted to mention, yeah, right, what Gas was saying, and DJ Adam, the idea was good. Follow the suggestions, you'll make it much better. And I mean, as I said before, I'm not considering myself as like a huge reference or some pro who really. I'm just giving away a little bit of experience, what I had problems with in the past. And I have been drilled by someone really to a point. He like it didn't even happen like too long ago, and that person drilled me like crazy, and he was still not accepting tracks of mine. And I just after like 15 years working for some really big companies, I approached one person, and they still say, no, I'm sorry, it's not what we're looking for. You're still on your way, but it's not really there yet. And I'm not saying that I my ego is pretty low, so I don't have a problem with that. So that's why I'm mentioning that person right now. I'm very thankful for that. But even it's like you can always try to optimize a little bit more. And the problem, what I wanted to say, is always that we have this problem to think too much in the way of composers. We have to listen to it more like, if you listen to a Bob Dylan track, he always sounds wrong when he's singing. It's like, how can you listen to that? Or Alanis Morissette sometimes. But then again, Bob Dylan sounds like somebody is like singing under the shower, and everybody can identify with that. I don't mean this in a bad way, but if you listen to some Bob Dylan songs like, so it sounds a little bit like someone is having a good time under the shower, but I know the song is, meant to fulfill something different. But you hopefully know what I'm trying to understand. You hopefully understand what I was trying to say this way around. Yeah, thanks, Adam. I mean, yeah, I don't want to downplay myself. I just don't try to avoid to appear arrogant, sometimes. But you're right. So I shouldn't downplay myself. I think I would probably have time. Maybe we can go through that track really quick. because I think it's like we're already hitting like the 3-hour mark. But I think I would listen to that one track, and I'm not really sure how much feedback I could provide. Let's listen to that track by Sjord. I'm not really sure how I pronounce your name. Is it Sjord? Sjord something? Sjord Visser? The Darkness Within. I don't have any BPM right now, but maybe we don't need it. So did I turn down? Yes, I turned down the limiter. I guess that's the best attitude you can have. Never giving up, and never take things for granted. And just, it's like, see it like a long-term goal. See it like never getting to that point, where you think, I'm not saying personally that you do, but just in general, as an attitude, it's very good to think I'm always learning. And, as it happened like recently with me, that guy was still rejecting tracks like, no, sorry, Alex, you're not working for us. You're still not good enough. And that I still try to do that, Jasper, thanks for following. So I could assume that you are somehow related to a company called Performance Samples, but I'm just guessing. So let's listen to The Darkness Within. I like that really, that you at the end, put like that little pitch in there. I'm always a big fan that there is something happening at the very, very, very end of the track, which really makes you want to listen to the very end that you're expecting. And if you know that person, and I definitely will do that when I listen to a next track of yours, that I know or hope that there is something coming at the very end of the track, which really wants to make me stick to the very end. In general, I really love that track. You build up really great, you really tell a great story until to that point where you get to that high dynamic part. Maybe you have a like a little bit of a comment if what it was intended to. Maybe you told me, but I was just checking my Discord server, but I couldn't find any info. And but you are here still, so maybe you have something you can drop. So generally there is just a few things. When I listen to the track here, in general, you build that nice arrangement with strings, but at the very end, you hear piano, which in my opinion changes the entire color of it's like when you see movies and there is a guy at the side, of a scene, and he stands there and does something like this, and and then suddenly there's a scene change, and then it changes back, and the guy, instead of a red shirt, wears like a green shirt, and he's still doing this, part of the dialogue or something. So there's some, I don't know the word in English, but it's like when you see like a watch on a wrist, and then it changes scenes, and then back, and the watch is missing. So I feel that it feels displaced because you build up that great arrangement, that story, and then suddenly at the end, it's not about some forest. You started telling it, and then the forest, and then he opened a cupboard on the drawer in the kitchen of his New York apartment. Not to make fun of the music itself, but it kind of changes the outcome for me, but not in a way. How can I say this? How can I express this? That you change the instrumentation that much that I think the piano kind of feels wrong, because it now sounds round and everything. But maybe there is a specific purpose you wanted to have, you wanted to show or go to, which makes it, maybe it's like a movie scene, and at the end you wanted to introduce something which has been there like in the very beginning of the movie or something like this. So you didn't intend it for something. Well, it definitely could, fall like Gas already mentioned, like Game of Thrones vibe. I totally agree, because it builds up. You also have that kind of, Hans Zimmer attitude of repeating a section and bring it along and make it like a wave and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And the only thing really comes to my mind, maybe it's a great point actually to get back to the initial, point of our stream, because that would fit so well right now. Hopefully, let me just load Taiko. No, I just have another. Let me just, for a second, what did I want to do? Yes. I just tighten it for a second. And I want to get rid of the closed microphones, because I feel you get this little percussive thing going on here. So it's more like a something like this, but at the point, at the somewhere on the, at the middle of that part, like here, know, something like this to build it a little bit more also on the percussive side, because you're kind of using percussions, but not really. It's just like that little pattern. And this is what I probably missed most during this part. Something which is driving the track for me. So if I just open up again, you know, I'm not really sure what, maybe like, or maybe the brushed ones, you know, let's just try. Why do I say you know so much tonight? I don't know. Oh, here, the brushes. I think we should also do a mix of two sounds. So let me just bring this over and just load the what do I want to do? The load taikos here. Put this on the same MIDI channel quickly. What am I doing here? Low sertos, low tom. Low oh yes, right, the Grand Casa. I'm sorry. But in a sense, also I want to add a little bit of just to adapt this to the no, not you. Oh, no. Something like this. And then I think I have to get off the, you know, use the Tighten button really quickly. It doesn't do justice to the library, but just... And then come up with something which goes off like... So... Just have to find... Something which is just sitting in the back and giving me some pulse, because you're building that up and so nicely. It really starts to build up that nicely. And then at the very end, you just bring it to the top. And then, you know, there's this... It would even work if you just come up with something. What do we have here? No, not drums. If you just make it really epic with more, you know, like an entire full-blown drum ensemble, this would work really well. So, and another thing I just realized, I can listen to the French horn, and I 100% know that you didn't adjust the negative delay or the latency of the sample needed to get in, because it sounds like you know, it kind of drops in. It's not like bum 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 bum. You know, it's not there right now. So it's like and if I just layer that, you would always have to, kind of exaggerate the staccato notes to really cut it through. Even on my patch, it's too low in volume. You really want to make sure that the attacks are coming through. And if you just want to have it more slow, then I would just try to adapt the tempo and make it like -50 to -100 milliseconds on just the horns and see how this works. Because right now it's just sneaking in. Yeah, that's either fine. You can just push the notes back a little bit. You could also, have like going on up here. I'm not really sure what you're working in, but you can set the track delay and make it like -100, because you're getting really crazy when you just want to move parts or copy parts, and then you have to deal with these things like, shift it back for like 100 milliseconds. You go crazy when you suddenly have these jumps or these short staccato notes at the end of a track or the beginning of a part or whatever. So using Cubase, right? So you can simply go in here to any track and just hit this button and say -80 milliseconds or something. And I think Cubase goes back to like -500 something. I didn't test it, but you should be fine by doing that. Okay, yeah, and this is the only thing, sorry, this is the only thing I really have in mind, because you really tell a nice story. You move to that climax, to that where it goes off, but then I'm missing something which could sit there and, make this track really shine. But this is definitely the only thing I have to say about it. So, yes. So I think I would call it a day. And I have to get up pretty early tomorrow, preparing my daughter for school. So I think I would call it a day for tonight. And I still have a few tracks here. And I would say that we talk about the upcoming tracks next week also. But of course, I mean, if there's some Patreon guys or, just sending tracks. So I would always have to put these guys to the front, But I'm just trying to talk. Maybe we have another session one day where we really talk about all these tracks sitting, in the, let's say, the row, or not the snake. How do you say it again? Just like not sitting in. I forgot the word, but you know what I'm trying to say. In line. You're right. Okay. So yeah, there was no need to cut it up, which really means, of course, it's like very movie score like your track, The Darkness Within. It sounds really like, fantasy, and but I would just make sure to just work on that epic part in the middle. And maybe it's a little bit too short. Maybe you can make this longer too, because you're not tied to any range of this. Okay. It's just you when it goes to scissor. Did I chop up I think I chopped your track up like crazy. I'm really sorry compared to the others, but that doesn't mean anything. I think I did it before in the previous stream, but wasn't there a track of yours too? But I mean, I really like your track, but I think it's just a matter of some arranging things, just introducing the parts. And okay. So I really hope you enjoyed tonight's stream. We will definitely have the next one next Wednesday, 8 p.m. I learned it's not Central European time, but Central European Standard Time, because CET would always be like off, like an hour or something. And but I will be here next Wednesday. And thanks all for chiming in. I'm not really sure what exactly we're going to do. Maybe there's we have another library in mind we can review. Maybe we do some music composing. I will let you know in my Discord channel, on my Twitter. This would be the best to always announce a little bit what we're going to do. Yeah, I should rename the channel to Chop Chop Square. Okay, so wherever you are, take care. Still wash your hands and stay safe. Have a good night and see you next week then. Bye. Thanks for watching.